I'm Marni Hughes, and this is Missing. Thank you for joining us. Each week, we feature a missing persons case from across the country, no matter their race, religion, background, or circumstances. Every missing person matters, and with your help, our goal is to shine a light on these cases that aren't getting much attention, dig for answers, and offer support for the family and friends of the missing. This week, our featured case is tied to a major disaster that hit parts of the Appalachia area in September. Cloyd and Nancy Tucker vanished as Hurricane Helene brought devastating flooding to that region. And as communities try to pick up the pieces, their families are experiencing roadblock after roadblock as they try to bring them home. You're going to hear in a moment from one of them. Before we get to that, we have several other missing cases we want to update you on. First, a major development in the search for a woman last seen on a doorbell camera getting into a strange car. Police say Heather Williams' body was found in a wooded area in North Carolina, about 5 miles from where she was last seen alive. 25 years old, she was reported missing on the night of January 4th. She's seen on that doorbell camera getting into a light-colored sedan with a sunroof. The Fayetteville Police Department immediately launching an investigation and issued an endangered persons alert. Heather's family says she's got cognitive impairment and limited speech from a car accident in 2015. They say she was trusting and naive to the dangers that are out there, and they fear she may have met someone online. There have been no arrests made in her case, and her sister says they are praying whoever is responsible is held accountable. We do have some good news out of Southern California in a case that we were also following closely. A missing 14-year-old boy has been found safe. Anthony George Martinez's family called police on New Year's Day after not hearing from him. The sheriff says he had no history of running away. The LA Sheriff's Department says Anthony was found safely, but no other details have been provided. Now to this week's featured case out of Jonesborough, Tennessee, where 2 people remain missing after the remnants of Hurricane Helene swept through their town in September. Cloyd, a 60-year-old husband, father, and grandfather, and Nancy Tucker, a 76-year-old wife. Both of their families frustrated and heartbroken as the searches have seemingly stalled.
Steve and I had celebrated 36 years of marriage. And we actually went to Dollywood on the 22nd of September to celebrate. And it was a good day filled with beautiful memories.
Just 5 days later, the remnants of Hurricane Helene swept through their hometown of Jonesborough, Tennessee, unleashing 60-mile-per-hour winds and catastrophic flooding. Kelly had gone to work in the morning. Steve was home with their dog, Orion, watching the storm.
At 9:02 a.m., I texted him and let him know I was safe. He said, okay, great, and then he starts sending me progress reports of the rising creek. Between 10:30 and 11, he's now sending me videos, and what we're seeing is the creek's filling up. He kept saying, I'm running out of green. I'm running out of green. Around 1 o'clock is when his messages to me are getting a little bit more desperate, saying, basement's filling, Orion's freaking out. Orion is our dog. And he said, basement's starting to fill. It sounds like it's the end here. 1:30, 2 o'clock, he calls me and says to me, Kel, I am calling you because this is not good. And I'm calling to tell you I love you, but I think this is the end.
Kelly began calling 911 to get help for Steve. She called 8 times that day, but ultimately Steve grabbed their dog Orion, carried her to his Jeep, and tried to get out on his own. The Jeep was flooded. His cell phone battery was dying. It was there that he and Kelly shared their last text.
My last text to him was at 2:48 p.m. and he says, on the move. And what I knew by that was he had no control over the Jeep and the Jeep was starting to float. And I never heard anything more from him.
About 5 miles across town, Jimmy and Nancy Tucker were at home when the floodwaters rose.
I got a call from Nancy while it was happening. She said, we're in crisis here. And I said, what's going on? She said, we're being flooded. That the water was already coming in the trailer and it was up to Jim's waist in the driveway. That's when I knew that it was very bad. And I told her, I said, Nancy, you got to go.
Johnny says Nancy was worried about their dogs, packing up food for them in their car. They were inside their home when it was swept away by floodwaters, downriver for at least half a mile. Nancy's husband, Jimmy, was found dead a few days after the flood, about 2 miles from home, but Nancy Tucker is still missing. When Steve and Kelly's sons heard their dad was in trouble, they traveled from Illinois to begin searching for him. The next day, their dog Orion was found alive in the Nolichucky River. 2 days later, they found their dad's Jeep, its freedom panel torn out from the inside, a sign that Steve had escaped. The Jeep was found just 0.3 of a mile from their home.
He could be right to where below where the Jeep was with all of the layers of silt and debris. He could be in drainage ditches, which they are currently cleaning out. He could have been in the creek that filled up first. He could have been washed into the river. It's anybody's guess. I was promised on multiple occasions they would not stop searching until they found him and the other missing resident in Washington County, Nancy Tucker.
Until they're found or whatever end that end may be, they will be considered a missing person.
Steve was a good guy. He was very loved by the people that knowed him. If you knew him, you'd be out here looking for him too.
Kelly says one area of interest is Jackson Island. It runs along the Nolichucky River, and its debris field can be 40 feet high.
So if Steve and or Nancy or anyone else is in those debris piles, it's going to take experts to come out there. My only goal in any of this is to find my husband so that we can put him to rest in the manner that he chose.
Kelly says there is a dog team that is scheduled to search the debris fields at Jackson Island at the end of January or early February. Kelly, Steve's wife, is with me now. Kelly, thank you so much for being here. And I'm sorry for what you're going through. I had to smile just a moment ago in that video of Steve, one of the last that we showed. He's in a swimsuit or something, it appears, and I noticed you were laughing too. Tell me about your husband.
Oh my gosh, Marni, my husband was hysterically funny. What that video was, which always makes me laugh because that's how we were. We had so much fun in our 36 years together. What had happened with that was during 2020, during COVID. I had ordered him face coverings, and I get him, I show them to him, and he takes them out of the package, and he said, "Why'd you buy me a tube top?" I said, "It's not a tube top, it's a face covering." He said, "Oh no, it's a tube top." Then he goes in and puts it on, tucks it inside of his jeans, buckles it up, and that was the video. And that's who Steve was. He was funny, he was sarcastic, he was quick-witted, super intelligent. But I'll tell you what, that man was so loving, so caring, and would have done anything for anybody. So that's why I laugh at that, because that's the Steve Cloyd I need everyone to know. He was funny, he was humorous, comical, and he just was a great spirit and energy. And I was blessed to be married to him for 36 long, beautiful years.
Yeah, what a man full of life, and clearly evident in some of the images that we're showing of the two of you. Kelly, you're speaking of him in the past tense. Do you hold any hope that your husband is alive?
Marni, I'm a realist at heart. I think for me personally, the day that it happened, and please keep in mind the week prior, we just celebrated 36 years of marriage together. When you're married that long, you have a connection. And I will be honest with you, I felt that connection was severed almost immediately. When he called me to tell me that he loved me and he thought it was the end, I have never heard fear or desperation that strongly in his voice. I would love to believe that he's convalescing somewhere, perhaps in a different county or state, but the reality is we're going on 16 weeks tomorrow. I see the debris fields. I see where the Jeep landed. I see everything around me, and it looks like a veritable war zone. I would love to, like I said, I would love to say, sure, he's out there somewhere, but I'm a realist at heart. So in my mind, no, I don't believe he's of this world anymore. I believe he's in the next life. and I know that I'm being guided by him, I can feel him. And I know he's ever present. So, no, I do have to speak about him in the past tense, because I do believe that as much as I would like to hold out hope, after 16 weeks nearly, there's just absolutely no way. Yeah. There's no way, because I know there's no active John Does anywhere around Washington County, Greene County, any of the other states. There's no active John Does. And I know that has to go down the wire to officials, and there's no active John Does.
Yeah. Well, my heart breaks for you, Kelly, and thanks for being so candid about your feeling and where things are right now. Give me a sense of the status of the search. I mentioned a moment ago, still sending dogs out. I mean, now it's the point you want closure, you want your husband back with you. What's happening with those search and rescues?
I wish I could tell you there are search and rescues going on. There is not. Most recently, we had a crew come in that we found out were uncertified. Their dog was uncertified. This crew lost valuable hats that belonged to my husband. Last pieces of my husband. They're gone. So I have my own dog crew that I'm bringing in end of January, early February. They have been out there before. They are certified. They have had EMA clearance, WCSO clearance, and I trust this team implicitly. So immediately, sure, there were searches by county, by officials, lasted a few days. The most recent legitimate search was by a retired officer in Greene County. And EMA put something on Facebook about it, but it wasn't EMA. They were not responsible for that search. It was private individuals who brought in that retired officer from Greene County. I will be honest with you, Marni, all search efforts have been through private individuals, teams that we've talked to. But going forward, no team will be allowed in there to search for the name of Steve Cloyd unless they are approved by Washington County Sheriff's Office, EMA, and the family, because unfortunately, what we're finding is there are a lot of scam artists coming in there in the name of SAR and search and rescue. They are not certified. And like I said, this team lost valuable pieces of my husband, and that is unacceptable.
What is the motivation, Kelly, of these teams coming in? I mean, the hope is that it's a shared desire to find Steve and Nancy, but why are they showing up?
One would hope that they're in there to try and find Steve and Nancy, but what we're finding out is some of these SAR teams are hosting GoFundMes, and they're doing it in the name of search and rescue. They're not out there searching and rescuing. The most recent team, they came in on October 10th to do a large search. That's when we had given them the hats. You know, I did not want to, but we were told, oh, sure, it'll help find them. Sure, if there's live tracking, but when we're looking for human remains, they would have warranted no results. We were told we would have them here for, I believe you said a few months. And I believe they were only out there for 2, maybe 3 weeks searching. And then they shifted their attention to tiny homes or homes for residents in Tennessee, Western North Carolina. And that didn't make any sense to me, because my understanding is they were here searching for Steve and Mrs. Tucker. I never seen them out there besides the initial search on the 10th. But it goes back to, if EMA is not taking calls from these supposed teams and they're not vetting them out, they're going to come in and they're just going to do their own thing anyhow. And so I'm sorry, Marni, but I have to say EMA has been the most or biggest disappointment for me, because they're not returning calls. There's other certified search and rescue dogs that have been trying to reach out to EMA director, and calls are going unanswered. My own call went unanswered.
Yeah, I know
my son's call went unanswered.
How frustrating. Kelly, give me a sense. Have you been out there to these debris fields? I mean, what are the challenges in trying to find Steve?
Yes, when we were finally able to access the flood area, which was nearly impossible for a few days afterwards because there was no passable roads, my sons and I were out there and we were searching, and we had another team come in, and it's kind of the same situation. He was doing amazing things and couldn't get a hold of EMA. He got frustrated and left. The challenges, well, the layers and layers of debris and silt out there, the layers of sand that were not there before, drainage ditches completely filling in, the creek outside of, well, behind where we lived had filled. So they're dredging that stuff up now. They're dredging up the drainage ditches, but those drainage ditches are ever connecting. I mean, it's just insane. Then you go down to Jackson Island, which those debris fields are as high as 40 feet high, and you see propane tanks literally stacked on top of each other. You see gas cans down there. When I was walking around in the area, I had a brand new pair of New Balance shoes. They fell apart just by trudging a little bit of water. And so the challenge is, without big equipment, without experts, they're never going to get through those debris fields. And it doesn't just stop at Jackson Island. It goes all the way into Greene County.
Are they not bringing in big equipment? Are we not at that point yet? I mean, what, 16 weeks later?
16 weeks later, if there's any large equipment coming in there, I know that there's been some large equipment down there, because there are debris fields that I have seen the debris piles pulled down, that, and then there'll be little markings here and there, and, you know, like they've been searching. But if there's anybody down there searching now, I have no idea. I know county, like I said, is cleaning up drainage ditches, and they are going along the bank of the Nolichucky, and they are cleaning that out too. But my goodness, it's going to take months. And most recently, I understand that the state of Tennessee is hiring a crew to clean out riverbeds. They don't have a choice. There is so many different debris fields, like I said, Jackson Island and going further in. So it's going to take large equipment and actual experts to come out there, which means we need help from state. We need help from EMA. Families shouldn't have to find their own resources to bring in to find their missing loved ones. I don't think it's too much to ask of the state, EMA, or actual experts to come in and clean out these debris fields. I'm hearing rumors of burning piles. My gosh, I hope not.
Wow. Well, you and me both, Kelly. You got Orion back, your dog. Where was Orion found in relation to your property, and what did that mean to you?
That was amazing to me, because, you know, when we got I got a text saying, I believe a family friend found Orion. I knew it was Orion because I seen a picture and I recognized her color. And this little girl swam 3 miles down from our home and survived. But I have to say, she was picked up by the kindest, sweetest lady who just did everything in her power to protect. And Nancy, you are forever in our hearts. And she took such good care of my dog. And I'm going to say it's Steve's best friend. That dog and Steve were inseparable. And she is our miracle baby. I call her my Velcro baby, but she is amazing. She is a true miracle. And I thank God to have Orion back, because she is a representation of my husband's life.
Well, and to think about Steve with your dog in those moments that I know he was scared, but he had her, and I'm sure protecting her was important as well. Kelly, my heart goes out to you. I'm sorry that you're having to deal with some of these search frustrations, but please stay in touch over the next few days and weeks and months, and I hope soon that you have some of the answers that you're desperate looking for. My heart goes out to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your time and just for keeping Nancy and Steve in the spotlight, because we're not going away, not till we find them and bring them home.
Of course not. All right, Kelly, thank you. If you have any information about Steve or Nancy, you can contact the Washington County Sheriff's Office, 423-788-1414. If you have a missing case you think we should look into, you can send it to us at newsnationnow.com/missing. You can also check out other missing cases we are currently working on. As always, thank you for joining us. I'm Marni Hughes. I'll see you next week.